Up next in the True Power series, the Akatsuki Edition, we're going to be covering Pain. For a little over 2 years, Pain was the character that many of us thought was the leader of the Akatsuki. And during that time, there were so many different theories about who Pain actually was, and some people thought that he might be the fourth Hokage in secret, and others thought that he might be Naruto's secret sibling. However, during that time, we all agreed that Pain had to be someone who was insanely powerful, since he was able to keep people like the Akatsuki in check. Well, in today's video, we're going to be looking at just how powerful Pain was. Now, to be upfront, this isn't going to be a video about how strong Nagato Uzumaki is, because covering the power of Nagato is a full video unto itself, and I can make that video if you guys want me to, because Nagato is incredibly powerful. Lumping him into a Pain video does an extreme disservice to his character. Now, that's not to say that Pain is a weak character, not to say so in the least. In fact, the exact same argument can be made for Pain, and that the power of the 6 paths of Pain deserves a full video unto itself. I mean, to say otherwise is absolutely insane. Pain was able to kill Hanzo of the Hidden Rain Village, a character who was powerful enough that not even the combined strength of the legendary Sannin was enough to bring him down. Each of the members of the legendary Sannin is a Kage level fighter in their own right, which should speak to the power level that Hanzo possessed, as well as the power level of Pain. So, in order to break down how powerful Pain is, we have to look at the 6 paths of Pain one by one and what the advantages of each of the jutsu is. The 6 paths of Pain are essentially 6 dead bodies controlled remotely by Nagato by embedding the black chakra rods throughout each of the Pain's body, and Nagato uses his own chakra to control them remotely via the great distances. And one drawback of this is that for more powerful of the jutsu, the 6 paths of Pain need to be brought closer to Nagato's actual body. Otherwise, the level of chakra that's used for the 6 paths jutsu is considerably weaker. This is why in the manga, Pain had to draw the transformed state of Naruto closer to his main body, and why the Naruto Shippuden anime added so much filler to this fight, showcasing a lot of anime-only sequences that showed the Deva path gradually ramping up the level of power that is used to fight back against the transformed state of Naruto. The closer that the Deva path got to Nagato's actual body, the more powerful the attacks became. On another note though, if Nagato really needed to go all out, one option that he had was to stop sending chakra to all the other 5 paths and pour the chakra that he would normally spread into the other 5 paths and redirect it into one Pain. But the drawback to this is that all the other 6 paths of Pain are left completely defenseless, and you can just rip out their chakra rods, and then you only have one of the 6 paths to worry about. Another advantage that the 6 paths of Pain has is that due to them being dead bodies, they can tank most damage that a living body would normally be slowed down by, if not killed, due to the fact that they're not actual real people. And if we look at the 4th data book as well as other source material, then you can argue that Nagato can use each of the 6 paths to perform any ninjutsu that Nagato himself uses, though we've only seen him limit each of the 6 paths to one specific jutsu that is aligned with the specific branch of the 6 paths power. Nagato used the 6 paths for different scenarios depending on what situation he was in. Some were used for offensive purposes, others were used strictly as support, and there were some who were used strictly for defensive purposes. It's why Jiraiya had such a tough time when he fought against Pain, because just when he broke down a scenario and looked like he gained the upper hand, another of the Pains would appear and negate any of the progress that he made. It's also why Kakashi was impressed that Jiraiya was able to hold off as many of the Pains as he did, fighting without intel, which says a lot about Kakashi, because Kakashi is a genius, and this dude was absolutely impressed that Jiraiya was able to hold him off, which in a backwards way is a nice way to wank off Jiraiya, because that's pretty damn impressive when you see just how well he did. Another thing that makes the 6 paths of Pain really deadly is that when they fight together, ganging up on an opponent, They're able to make use of the shared vision that comes from each of them having the Rinnegan. This shared vision isn't just limited to the 6 paths of pain, but when the animal path summons any of the animal summonings, then the shared vision extends to the animal summonings themselves. The same can be said when the Naruto path summons the King of Hell. The shared vision makes it virtually impossible to get the drop on one of the 6 paths. On the other hand, this makes the 6 paths themselves virtually undefeatable. The shared vision allows them to coordinate their attacks to maximum efficiency. They can dodge attacks that would normally hit a normal person, but due to the shared vision, they're able to dodge it. The one weakness of the shared vision is that if by some miracle someone finds a blind spot where there aren't any of the 6 paths or summonings in the area, then this does leave the pains vulnerable for attack. When it comes to the 6 paths, the other reason why they are so deadly is that for a really long time, hardly anyone knew about the jutsu that Nagato used and how it actually worked. That was because Nagato would purposely try to use as few of the paths as possible in a battle so as to prevent people from figuring out how the 6 paths work, and the moment he suspected that Konoha had begun to break down the secrets to his jutsu, Pain made it a point to just blow up the whole damn village. Most fans think this because Tsunade pressed the wrong button when she was in a discussion against the Deva Path, and that's partly true. But you also have to remember that he ripped out the soul of Shizune, and he read her memory in the process using the human path, which means he knew Konoha had begun to unravel the jutsu that is the 6 paths jutsu. As for the individual pains themselves, their power was freaking scary, and you guys are about to see why Kakashi was so impressed that Jiraiya was able to handle as many hack spiders all at once without any type of intel or prep time. So the Deva Path is the one path of pain that most Naruto fans are familiar with because this is the pain that Nagato used to control Yahiko's dead body and was the pain that was used to destroy the Hidden Leaf Village in that so iconic scene. The Deva Path allows the user to freely manipulate repulsive and attractive forces. The drawback is that the gravity manipulation cannot be performed back to back to back in rapid succession, and depending on the skill of the Rinnegan user, as well as the type of jutsu and the level of chakra that's used for the jutsu, then the time that the jutsu takes to recharge can vary depending on the skill of the user, but most importantly on the level of chakra that is used for the scale of the attack. The Deva Path also has the ability to use Chewbacca Tensei, which draws everything in the surrounding area into a single black spear and basically creates a giant meteor. The freaking ability to use the Deva Path is that it also gives it the ability to levitate through the air. Like, that's taking the whole god complex to an entirely different level, because this dude can just float over the air and then say almighty push and everything gets pushed back. So the animal path is the path of pain that has the ability to summon multiple summonings onto the battlefield at once, and it has one clear advantage, is that each of these summonings has a shared vision, which means even if you're fighting the animal path alone, if you don't end the battle quickly enough before pain can spam the jutsu, you're going to find yourself at a clear advantage really quickly. Another thing is that these summonings don't just get taken out of battle if you kill them, because they can just be resummoned despite dying. Unlike a regular summoning, like with Manda after Manda died after Sasuke used it to survive Deidara's C0 attack, it's completely different here. The dead summoning can just be brought back and used for another battle. It's not confirmed, but this could be due to the Buddhist inspiration of the various paths of pain, with some of them focusing on the realm of reincarnation. However, that's just my observation because Kishimoto uses a lot of Buddhist and Shinto stuff for a lot of his Naruto characters and for some of their abilities. Now, another advantage that the animal path has is that unlike a regular summoning, these summonings don't require a contract or blood seals, and if the user is skilled enough, the animal path can actually summon people. This is freaking crazy. This makes battling the animal path a huge problem because if the user decides to, they can spam the battlefield with multiple summonings and use the shared vision in the battle, or it can summon allies onto the battlefield. Now, the Preta path gives Pain the ability to absorb chakra of any form. While it's used primarily for defensive purposes, this Pain, like a lot of the others, is skilled as hell with taijutsu. Given that Pain can absorb chakra through physical contact or through a barrier shield, it makes fighting this Pain with ninjutsu an essential no-go, since every attack that you use is going to be nullified. Even molding Sage chakra into a jutsu won't be enough to bring down this Pain, because it can absorb the Sage chakra as well. However, if it takes in too much chakra at once, then it will be turned into a stone statue. The Preta path was shown being able to casually absorb the chakra of Killer Bee when he was in the version 2 transformed state, which shows you just how much raw chakra this path can absorb if it's used in a short period of time. Now, the human path is my absolutely favorite path, and it's the path that allows the Pain to rip out the soul of anyone that it touches. The other advantage of the human path is that it can casually read the mind of a target just by touching it, and it allows it to gain intel on even the most guarded secrets, even if those secrets are protected by a genjutsu track. And allowing it to do this is that after all this is done, the jutsu kills whoever is used on. It's an instant kill at that point. The Pain is also more likely to be used in a non-combat situation, though for Rinnegan users, and this is really important, for Rinnegan users who have mastery over all 6 paths jutsu, it can be a deadly path to use in battle, as shown when Nagato was about to casually rip out the soul of Naruto when he was reincarnated, which means if you're fighting this Pain, it's best done at a distance, because if you get too close to it, it can rip your soul out by making contact with you. Hands down, this is the most overpowered Pain because its kill potency used by the right person is absolutely insane. Now, the Asura path is hands down the coolest out of all the Pains, hands down, no debate, and part of the reason it's the most versatile. It can turn its body into armor or its body parts into weapons, ranging from blades that can shoot out of its freaking spine to a freaking laser gun and to rockets that can launch from its skull. On top of that, this Pain can sprout out up to 4 extra arms all at once and 2 extra faces, allowing it more weapons to use in a battle and 2 extra set of eyes to watch its blind spots during that same fight. It can also fire its forearm off like a projectile, and it can produce drills and tendrils and blades, and it can shoot chakra from its feet to propel itself forward, kind of like how Iron Man does when he flies himself through the air by using those boosters that are on his shoes. The laser cannons can be fired off from its arm, it can be fired off from its hand, and it can be fired off from the crown of its head, which makes fighting this Pain really tough, since you never know when it's going to shoot a laser that can casually take down several buildings all at once. On top of that, this Pain appears to be much physically stronger than all the other 6 paths, since it was able to casually rip off Jiraiya's arm. And if you don't get why that's so impressive, look at how much force is required to be able to rip off an arm out of the socket, and it was able to crush his throat with ease. Heck, it was able to actually throw one of the other Pains into the middle of Konoha from the outside outskirts of the village. Like, that is insane. Now, the Naraka path is able to use the King of Hell, which is a being that is wielded by only a user of the Rinnegan. It's mainly used for interrogation purposes, but there are a few other points that you have to have, since at any given point the King of Hell can be used to rip out the life force of the target, similar to the human path, leading to an instant death. However, if the user decides not to kill its target, then they won't be killed, but they'll be left in a state of extreme exhaustion, making it really hard for them to move. On top of that, the King of Hell can be used to repair the damage of the other paths, bringing them back to near full power. When you combine all of the powers of the 6 paths of Pain together, then you can see why Hanzo, someone not even the legendary Sannin could defeat, and Jiraiya, a legendary fighter in his own right, weren't able to defeat Pain in battle. Being put very simply, Kishimoto created a character who is extremely overpowered. So overpowered that the only way Naruto was able to stand even a remote chance was that he was given intel on each of the six paths of pain's jutsu, and even then he still fell in a battle against all six despite having sage mode, despite having some intel during the fight. That in itself just shows you just how overpowered the six paths of pain are when they're fighting together and at full power, and not like when they fought Naruto where there was a handicap put in play because Naruto arrived right after Pain used a giant almighty push to destroy the village, and the Deva path had to take time to recharge in order to get back to full power. Well, what did you guys think about the true power of the six paths of pain? Do you think that Pain was the most powerful member of the Akatsuki, or perhaps the most hacked character? Which of the six paths of pain is your favorite, and what's your favorite jutsu and why? Now, if you don't want to get caught lacking out here in these Konoha streets, then make sure you subscribe and join the Senju squad, and make sure you hit that bell so you never miss out on the Naruto/Boruto content on the channel, and never forget that Senju DNA is love and Senju DNA is life.